Hello and welcome to Broken Entertainment. And today I'm going to do a review of Drakkon New Dawn issue number 2 from Boom Studios. And there are going to be some spoilers in this one, so just going to get that out of the way. If you want to read it first and come back later, that's great. But I don't want to spoil anything for you if you're wanting to wait. So, I have already done a couple videos on the Power Ranger comics and how I think Boom Studios is doing a great job, and that doesn't stop with this one. This one is my favorite by far to this point, even though this one is just a mini series. It's wrapping up the events of the Drakkon timeline that take place on Lord Drakkon's world rather than in the Prime Power Rangers universe. And it's a continuation of issue 1, where the Ranger Slayer returns to her world and tries to keep it from slipping into chaos now that Drakkon's dead, and she's able to take his throne, allies herself with Scorpina and the different Power Ranger thugs that they had going around, as well as Trini the Yellow Ranger, and it ended with them finding someone in a prison in Lord Drakkon's fortress. He was in armor, so they didn't know who he was, and it sends this signal out into space, and at the very end of that issue you find out that it is for that universe's version of a really well-known villain from Power Rangers in Space. And that's kind of an oh shit moment. And this one's got a couple oh shit moments in it, and where the first issue was mostly talking, this issue has a lot of pretty awesome action in it. So this is the cover here. Really like the artwork on it. I love this interpretation of Scorpina. The Ranger Slayer outfit continues to be awesome, and Trini continues to be awesome, and the statue of Lord Drakkon in the background and the statue of Rita in the background is pretty neat touch to show you what universe you're in. So we get to it opens up where they left off. They free the guy in the suit, and it turns out that it's Jason, the Red Ranger. And I like the way they aged him up here. You know, he looks pretty rugged and kind of badass to me. And he kind of catches up, and then Adam comes through, and he just straight decks him because he thinks it's a Ranger Sentry, which is one of the evil foot soldiers of Lord Drakkon. Because obviously he has no idea what's been going on since he's been stuck in that jail. Then they restrain him, and you get this badass shot of Adam's face. And like everybody else in this universe, he's like a more hardcore, rugged version of himself. Love the eye patch. And so I haven't read the entire Shattered Grid story arc yet, so I don't know where some of this is coming from, but that's actually kind of neat for me, because even though that's true, this comic never makes me feel like I have no idea what's going on. So once they get him to calm down, Adam delivers his report that is kind of funny. He says it's not a meteor, it's creatures from space. Then you have this I told you so moment, because you don't see it on any of the pages I'm showing here, but just before this, Scorpina was saying the meteor was probably a creature from space and they should go deal with it rather than dealing with this guy in the armored suit. And then Jason, a couple pages later, is explaining what happened with him, how he got imprisoned, and why he absolutely detests the Ranger Sentries. And to me, this is a great hero moment that you just don't see in a lot of the mainstream books anymore. So he, right before this, Lord Drakkon offers him his coin back, mockingly, of course, saying that he will give it back if Jason tells him what it means to him. And Jason explains, he says it represents the proper use of power. It represents justice. It represents good defeating evil. It means everything to him. And that kind of statement, that's the kind of truth, justice, the American way kind of statement you used to get from Superman. And you're just not seeing that a whole lot anymore. That true hero moment, there's no dark side to him, there's no brooding. This guy's had his whole world destroyed, and he's still spitting in the face of the villain. And you get this great explanation of where the Ranger Sentries come from. And I like the art here too. The close up on the power coins. Jason's face is great here too. But you find out that he was able to build this device that unlocked the power coins so that they could be assigned to multiple individuals, and that's where you get your Ranger Sentries from. And then Kimberly leads her team and an army of Ranger Sentries to go fight the quote-unquote monsters from space. And you get this. This is a female version of Ecliptus, I think was his name, the villain from Power Rangers in Space. And he was a hard ass in that show, and she's pretty badass in this. But before you really see how powerful she is, you get this great hero shot of Kimberly as sort of Lady Drakkon blasting through all these goons. And if you haven't seen Power Rangers in Space, these guys aren't putties, right? They're really, really powerful goons that it takes some significant effort to dispatch, and she just freaking annihilates them. It's great. And this is a great action shot too. You get the movement with the background color. You get her in these awesome acrobatic poses that really bring back memories of how she fought in the original TV show, where she used her skills as an acrobat pretty frequently, and this is exactly how she would have fought. It's just spot on. And then she gets stopped by the big scary boss. And I think this is a great shot too of just how insane this person is. So overall, like the art, loved the action, and the interaction between the different characters is great. You learn that Scorpina and Adam have a thing going, and Adam was a black Ranger Sentry in this universe. And there's several great moments with them. I don't want to show everything, so I'm not going to show that. But the rivalry between Kim and Scorpina and Trini and Scorpina is really well handled. And then Jason has another great heroic moment where he is initially happy to see Kim and Trini, but then he realizes that they've changed a lot since he's been imprisoned. And he's been in prison for 10 years. Everything was taken away from him. He had no hope. And yet, he comes out of it being Jason. Jason was always that moral anchor of the team who would stand up regardless of the odds and regardless of what was going on. And I don't think it's obviously not an accident that Kim doesn't liberate the world when she comes back. She takes control of it. And Trini helps. And Adam is a former Ranger sentry, and he's like, I don't recognize you guys. You're acting like Lord Drakkon did. They're not evil in the same way, but he calls them fascists to their face. He says, I'm leaving. I've seen enough fascism. I don't need to be around fascists right now. And part of that happens because he finds out that they're still using the Ranger sentries to suppress the population and to keep order. And he finds out, and it just pisses him off. And it's perfect. This is a perfect Jason moment. These writers totally understand these characters in a way that I don't think DC writers and Marvel writers get anymore with their characters. And it's sad that that's true for them. But man, Boom Studios writers are freaking nailing it with Power Rangers. Scorpina is perfect. Kimberly, Kimberly has had awful things done to her. You know, she was mind controlled by Lord Drakkon for 10 years. She murdered people she considered friends. And Trini's been through hell too. And Jason has been through hell in his own way. But Jason is the one that stands up and says, no, this isn't right. Just because you're not killing people doesn't make what you're doing okay. And you have this battle going on, and that argument costs someone, a major character, I'm not going to say who, costs someone their life. Because they go to this major battle, and all of a sudden, right at the most important part of it, all the Ranger Sentry powers turn off. And it's because Jason is uncompromising in his morality. He's compromising in his goodness. He's not willing to say it's okay to oppress people because that's what they're used to and it maintains order. And he's not willing to say it's okay to use the Power Ranger coins this way. In fact, he said it makes a mockery and an insult of everything it is to be a Power Ranger, and anyone who supports it isn't one. And that's when you get, I think, the coolest moment in the comic. Spoiling the end. Last chance. Okay. Jason shows up at the end. The city's rioting. And he's like, well, basically, let's get the band back together. Because he wants to do this. He doesn't want the riots. He doesn't want people dying. But he wants to do it the right way. The way the Power Rangers would have done things. And it's just great. All the characters make so much sense in where they are. And I absolutely... This is the best comic I've read in a long time. And I wish DC and Marvel could pull their heads out of their butts and understand their characters in the same way. You know, these characters, with the exception of Lord Drakkon, these aren't even Boom Studios characters. Right? These are... Hasbro owns Power Rangers. But they get them. Their interactions are spot on. Their development as people are spot on. And this moment, I mean, how cool is this moment? As the mic drop at the end of the comic. It was great. I love it. And, you know, okay, so what, in the meantime, so this company owns, 3% of the market? What's one of the major comic publishers putting out now? Oh, yeah. That. So you can have this, or you're going to have that. I think the quality of Boom Studios speaks for itself. I don't know what their past was like. I've heard they used to be pretty SJW. But I don't care. If they're putting out stuff like this, and DC's putting out stuff like this, I can tell you which one I'm going to buy. Every single time. In fact, Boom Studios made me sign up for a poll for the first time in my life. Because I don't want to miss any of these awesome books. If you liked the video, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you next time.